So if you go on the frog racing website, frogracing.us, if you go in the text section and scrutineering, you will have all the documents for scrutineers, including the current rules for the different sanctioning bodies. And in inspection for a logbook, there is a link to that logbook inspection report document. So you can click on it and you will get a copy of this Google Doc, and that's something you can print out or directly fill as a Google Doc, where you can put your inspector information, and then it guides you through all the steps of the things you have to inspect for the inspection. So there is a generic information that sanctioning bodies usually want to be reported with the logbook, and then it goes through the different element of the cage with the different allowable angles and measurements and sizes for every one of them, so you can feel that as you go during the inspection. This video will walk you through all the section of this document and show you and walk you through a real inspection so that you can see how to fill it up. So here are the tools you will need as a scrutineer to inspect a cage. There is a caliper to measure the diameter of the tubes. So here I have my caliper. I put it around the tube, and here we have 1 inch and 3/4 tube. This one might be reading slightly bigger because of the paint, and also this one has been bent from being cut during extraction. You will need a tape measure to measure different distances between connections. I use a tape measure in centimeters, since all the FIA measurements are in centimeters and millimeters. I also use this angle finder gauge, which is basically a ruler with a level, and depending here you can see the angle of the bar base to the vertical. And the last tool I use is ultrasonic thickness gauge to measure the size of the tubing. Once you turn it on, you put some of the ultrasound gel, and so here I have some on the bar, and then you put on the bar. I will give you the thickness reading. So when the tube is round, you have to find the correct angle for it, and here you see we have 95 roll tubing. So here you can see the reading of the thickness on the seat mount, and you can do that for every bar in the cage. Another tool very useful for inspection of the welds on the cages is the borescope or endoscope. So there's a camera, and you can go and go check the welds. So most of them have a camera in the front, but I really recommend to take one that has at least 2 cameras. So you see this one, you can have a camera on the side here. Actually, this one has a camera on both sides. I can flip through them. So here I should be going to the next camera, and then I can have both cameras at the same time, the front and the side, and you see I have a split screen with both cameras. That's really useful as a side camera when, like here, you want to see inside a gusset. I can see exactly what's going on inside the gusset and make sure the tube has been welded inside the gusset. To inspect the welds on the roof line, I can use a side camera much easier to go around the tube and make sure that everything has been welded. So they also make version of borescopes that connect directly to your phone, either through Bluetooth or through USB and powered by the phone. One connecting to the phone allows you to directly capture and save the picture on your phone and then paste them in a Google Doc or something. So there's the added convenience. A lot of them come with unnecessary long fibers, 15 to 50 feet. This one is a very short 3 feet one, and it's way more convenient in tight areas. So shop around for what works best for you. Okay, so today we're inspecting a car for a new logbook. So we have the document that's gonna keep track of the entire inspection. The car is here. We have the tools ready to do the inspection. So the first things are the information about the cage, the car itself, model, manufacturer, VIN number, who built the cage, and the logbook that will be issued. If it's FIA homologated, the
number of the FIA homologation paperwork.
When you check the FIA homologation paperwork, make sure you check the date of the homologation. Now FIA homologations expire after 10 years. So for example, in the paperwork shown here, the homologation is from 2005. It expired in 2015 and it wouldn't be acceptable today. One thing to pay attention with homologated cages is here we have an example of a cage where the bars were not installed in the configuration shown on the homologation paperwork, and actually nobody codes that, and the paperwork was signed like this. So you have to make sure that the cage was installed according to the diagram on the homologation paperwork.
And we're going to start with checking the base structure of the cage. So you have three options with the main hoop and the front lateral bar, the two transverse bars, or the two single laterals and a big main hoop and a big front. So here I guess we're going to have the traditional. So we have one main hoop, two long diagonal. Yeah, so we have a 253-3. So the first inspection here are the angles, making sure the main hoop is at an angle of 10 degrees maximum. So here, if you want to measure the angle of the main hoop, here we have a main hoop that has been at an angle. You can adjust your bubble level here to be straight, and the other piece of the angle finder against the bar, and you can get your reading here. We're at 8.5 degrees, which is below the 10 degrees that are allowed. So this inclination is acceptable.
Another option is also this form of angle finder. So here I'm at 270 degrees. I can put it on my bar and adjust until I am level here to 61.2, which is 8.8 degrees, still under 10. But this form of angle finder can work better in tighter areas where you don't necessarily have room for a big one, so you can put it like this and work at an angle. The smaller they are, the less accurate they are, but at least that gives you a good idea of the angle.
The front foot here at an angle of 10 degrees maximum. Then we have making sure the roll cage is in one plane. The front roll bars don't have a bend below here, below the first bend. Front roll bar angle. And then we are measuring the angle of the rear back stays here, making sure they are more than 30 degrees. And dimension A, it's more check than anything because now it's pretty much required for every roll cage. Next step is measuring the mounting feet of the cage and their sizes to make sure they meet the minimum spec.
So here I can measure the size of the plate. It's 13 centimeters by 8 centimeters, so it's above the 60 square centimeters that are required.
So next item, we're measuring tubing size and thickness. So for the thickness here, I'm using an ultrasonic gauge. Just put some fluid, then put it against the bar like this, and then you get the reading. So here we have a cage with 120 wall plus the paint. So that's why you have to play a bit with the angle. Here we go.
Okay, here for the tube diameter, we just use a simple caliper. And here you can see you will usually read a little bit more with the paint. When you are checking bends in tubes, remember that the shrinkage cannot be more than 10% of the diameter of the tube, and there is a cheat sheet at the end of the document reminding you the acceptable diameters for both 1.5 and inch and 3/4 tubes.
So here we are looking at the diagonals in the main roll bar, distance to each foot. So it will be a distance between the foot of the cage here and the bar. Then distance to the back stays. You can measure the distance, must be less than 10 centimeter between the junction. And gussets, we are looking at the gusset type number 1 here. And we measure the length of the gussets and the thickness to make sure it meets the specs. And then we are moving to the roof bars. Here we have a 5321 design with an X in the roof, followed by an X in the back. So we are going to inspect those bars, measuring the different distances and the weld as well as the size of the tubing. After that, we are moving to the door bar. Here we have an X design, which is 253.9, and we are looking at all the welds, tubing size, and then looking at the gussets. Here, if you have bars that are not intersecting, you have a single gusset. You can interpret this as 2 gussets and measure them. You put the diameter of your tube here, and then you measure the length of the gusset. It has to be between 2 and 4 times the size of the tube. So here we are always in spec, and here we have an optional seal bar at the bottom, and here we measure the thickness of the tubing and diameter of the tubing. Windshield support bar here, it can be straight. It has to be straight, but it can be in a single piece, or if it intersects with the door bar in 2 pieces. And remember that if this bar intersects with the door bar has to be a single piece, and the support bar in 2 pieces. And then measure also the gusset size. Then we have the whole section on optional bars. And so for each optional bar, you have a design, anti-intrusion bars, the dash bar that is still optional at the moment. Here, this one, you can use a factory dash bar as well. The optional bars with their sizes, and then the main measurements here for the door opening. So that's from here to the bottom. Then this bar can be more than half. Here you measure the distance to the outside of the tube to here, and then here from the top of the tube to the bottom, and distance between those 2 bars. And that's pretty much it. And then you have the projection in the front. You look through the windshield and see where the bars stick out on both sides. You are allowed 70 millimeter on the side here, and 100 millimeter in the top. For the seat mounting, you can reuse the stock mounts like in this car, but if you are building custom mounts, there is the anchoring points with the minimum size of the plate, and then the tube size and thickness. Then we are going to move to the belt anchoring points. If new anchoring points were made, we have to also check the angles of the belt with a harness bar. That's pretty subjective because the seat that might be in the car at the time of inspection might not be the time at the time of racing, so that will be rechecked during scrutineering at a race. But here we're going to make sure at least the angles look relatively valid. So here it's also good to look at if the installation, especially for the harness bar, is going to allow correct angles for the belts. You can also look at the anchoring point for the lap belts, 6-point belts, measuring the size of the plate, and the distances are correct. It still can vary if the seat is moved, but at least you have a good indication whether it's going to work or not. Make sure all the lines are routed inside the cage. Like here, you can see the electric lines are routed on the inside, and you don't want anything between the cage and the chassis. And last thing about the towing eyes, but that's just an FIA rule, but it's good to check if they are sound. So at the end, you fill up the logbook with the information about the car, and hand it to the proud owner, and wish him good luck.
Different sanctioning bodies have different rules about how much documentation you have to submit with a logbook. Like ARA has a single application form. Sometimes you have to put a sticker on the cage that matches the logbook number. In any case, it's good to keep a copy of all the papers. Also, take pictures of the cage, at least all the main elements of the cage and some of the details if possible, to document the cage in the future. All the logbook might have a digital record, and it would be good to be able to add those pictures and documents after the fact. If you have questions about roll cages, remember on the frog racing website, in the text section, Rallycar Prep, we have the roll cage page. And here you will find videos on roll cages, all the rules for tubing, for sizing, for design, with examples of what to do and what not to do, some crash analysis, pictures, especially mounting plates, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, with pictures and example of all the cases, and a section on FIA homologated cages. So don't hesitate to reach out if you want to see more about things to not do in buying a used rally car. We have all the common issues on older cars or cars that have already cages, and sometimes you will get old cage cars that come for a new logbook, and those are all the things you can review with examples. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and good luck with scrutineering.